Macon's Black history story includes significant gains in political leadership. In December of 1999, voters elected the city's first black mayor, C. Jack Ellis. I sat down to talk with him about his historical accomplishments as 2 terms of mayor and the history leading up to the moment. In 1975, Reverend Julius Hope of Macon's First Baptist Church on New Street took to the fight for equality to the ballot box and ran for mayor of Macon. Historians say that election resulted in a runoff. Dr. Walter Glover remembers Reverend Hope.
Reverend Hope was one of a kind. He was bold. He was not afraid. He was not scared. He was very vocal. And he didn't talk about things, he did something about it. Yeah. And as a result, in fact, he paved the way for the next black mayor, which happened to have been my cousin, C. Jack Ellis.
And joining us today is former Macon Mayor C. Jack Ellis. Thanks so much for being here with us today. I wanted to, now most folks know you as mayor, but also you were a 20-year Army veteran, and including an airborne instructor as well, and you were a 2-term mayor, that is. Now, when you look back on your history as Macon's first black mayor, what are you most proud of?
Well, there are a lot of things I'm proud of, but one of the things that I'm most proud of is what we were able to do with alleviating poverty and dispersing poverty. And we did that through recreating neighborhoods, if you will. When I say repurpose the neighborhoods, getting rid of blight and getting rid of old substandard houses, getting rid of housing projects and dispersing poverty and creating home ownership for a lot of people who had been denied home ownership, thereby creating generational wealth. I'm very proud of that.
And you know, when you made history that night, can you kind of take me back to election night? Like, how did that feel? That had to feel incredible.
It did. Well, I thought about all the people who had supported me. I thought about all the people who had given their dimes and nickels and quarters, because a lot of people didn't think we could win. A lot of the so-called elite in the city of Macon had aligned themselves with my opponent, who happens to have been the same gentleman that Reverend Hope had run against back in 1975. Buck Melton, who had served 1 term as mayor, and he was coming back, and who had been the senior partner of one of the largest law firms. So a lot of people didn't think I could win, and the Randalls were with him. So I thought about all the people who did believe in me and who worked so hard, and I thought of them and how happy they were that we had accomplished what we set out to accomplish.
You had to have the biggest smile in Bibb County that night too, right?
Well, it was a moment of joy, but it was also a moment of reflection. I remember thinking about my parents, who were deceased at the time, and what would they think of my becoming mayor, given the fact that they were born and raised here in Macon at a time when they couldn't vote, and my great-grandparents who were enslaved people here in Macon. So a whole lot of emotions were running through my mind on that particular night.
Now, once you took office, what did you learn about building coalitions across race and class and so many of these things that separate us sometimes?
Well, one thing I learned is that it was very important to reach out to people who did not necessarily support you, because some people had power to help you. But by the same token, I also learned that some people would try and take advantage of that, that they wanted to have their way or else. And of course, you had to push back on that, but by the same token, realizing that it would take a team, you had to build a team, and my thing was, whether you voted for me or not, I'm going to represent you, and I'm going to do what I think is in the best interest of the city. So I learned a lot.
And can you also talk about connecting the city of Macon to international partners as well?
I did. I created a sister city in Africa and Ghana. And why? A lot of people say, why are you doing that? Well, why? Because we're a city at that time, I think we were 58% African American. We had sister cities in Europe, we had sister cities in Asia, and we didn't have one in Africa. So I thought it was only fitting that we have a connection with people from the African continent, given the fact that we had about 58% of the people in our city were of African descent. So, and it worked out well, and we have really expounded upon that particular relationship, and it has grown.
Now, looking back on your time in office, is there anything else that you would wish to accomplish?
Yeah, what I really wanted to do, we are now talking about the Atlanta to Macon rail. That was one of the things that we talked about a long time ago, that we wanted to get rail between Macon and Atlanta. We worked so hard on it. That's why we bought the terminal station, turning it into a multimodal facility for that purpose. And another thing I really wanted to do that we weren't able to accomplish, well, get rid of more of the public housing projects so that we could disperse poverty, because the new urbanism is you disperse poverty rather than concentrate in poverty. So we're able to do it in 2 of them, but we weren't able to do the rest.
Now, years from now, how do you want your story to be told to students?
I want it to be told honestly, I want it to be told correctly, but I want people to know that yes, we made history, but we also made a difference, because I didn't run for mayor to make history. I ran for mayor to make a difference. And I want them to look at what we said we were going to accomplish and look at what we accomplished, and just judge us fairly. That's the only thing I ask.
Well, I think that's mostly what we have for you today. Is there anything else you want to add?
Excuse me?
I'm sorry, I think that's mostly what we have for you today, but I wanted to ask you if there's anything else that you wanted to add as well.
Well, I'll just say to the people of Macon, those who supported me and those who didn't, and especially those who supported me, that I appreciate their support, because I could not have accomplished what I accomplished without them and the many team members that helped me in City Hall to govern. And I'm really appreciative of all those people.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Mayor.
Thank you.